short of $1, the show where we give our 2 cents and keep it 100. We're your hosts. That's Motiz, and I'm Rue. Let's jump straight into it. Keith Thurman Fundora recap. Wish we'd have got this one to you sooner, but life's right. But speaking of lifing, Fundora put a beating on Keith Thurman, right? Bad beating. Some can say the refs stopped it preliminary, but I mean, like, what, by seconds? Like, if he'd have gave it 10 more seconds, you like what Thurman said, okay, maybe he could have landed that punch, whatever. But I think it was a fair stoppage. Fundora looked sharper than I've seen him, right? Thurman couldn't get anything going. He landed maybe a couple of hits that make you say, oh, but nothing as significant as Tim Tszyu, referring to the second fight. Obviously, Tim Tszyu landed more significant punches the first fight, but the second fight, we saw like Tim start to get some momentum before he retired on his stool, right? We didn't even see that from Thurman. So Fundora looked good, handled business, did what he was supposed to do. But what's your instant reaction to the fight?
Yeah, I can't say I'm surprised. The only thing that might have surprised me is just how quickly Fundora stopped Keith Thurman, right? Like how quickly he was able to get Thurman out of there. But we talked about it, right? We talked about like how Thurman is probably likely going to get stopped in this fight against Fundora. And, you know, the only way Thurman can potentially win is if he pulls off a Mendoza. That was really his only shot. But otherwise, Keith Thurman's out of his prime, and then he's fighting a guy that's 6'5" and probably the most dangerous fighter at 154 pounds. So, and then it's not that he's tall, but he's cracking, and he got the volume. So I don't know what Keith Thurman, it's everything he got. So I don't know what Keith Thurman was just trying. I think Keith Thurman was just trying to save face, but genuinely, it was really nothing Keith Thurman could have done in there, especially from what I seen. Yeah, it was nothing he could have done.
Right, like you said, Fundora's 6'5", 6'6", 80-inch arm reach, right? Keith Thurman has 69-inch arm reach, so that's 11-inch difference, right? And you've seen it. You've seen how Keith Thurman had to try to jump in there to land something, right? It showed. But Fundora has volume, and his punches, like, they start to accumulate and starts to go downhill on you. He probably not a one-punch knockout artist, but they start to accumulate. It becomes a snowball effect, and then your face looks like Keith Thurman or Erickson Lubin. You know what I mean? So Fundora, and then the bad part for Keith Thurman is Fundora's probably getting better. So you probably caught him as he continues to improve, get a little bit more sharp. I know Fundora said he can move up in a couple fights, but it seems like he is still making the weight comfortably. He doesn't seem drained. Just based on his output. Keith Thurman, I want to talk quickly about how he went hard at Thomas Taylor. To me, Thomas Taylor is one of the better referees in the game, probably alongside Harvey Dock. I think the stoppage was fair. Keith wasn't showing a lot, and it was getting bad. I know he said nothing was broken, but something doesn't have to break for a fight to be stopped.
Yeah, you 1000% right. I just think, like I said, Keith Thurman was just trying to save face, and he was just trying to say, oh, I probably could have pulled out a miracle. Yeah, like what if? Yeah. But you were getting destroyed in there, and you should be thanking the stoppage. Honestly, he probably would have shaved off some years off your lifespan if it had continued. So come on, cut it out.
Sorry, not to cut you off. And keep in mind, you know, I heard a lot of people leading up to it like, yo, you don't come back after 3 years and fight Fundora, but Thurman fought recently where he got that knockout in Australia, right? So he had what you can consider his tune-up for this fight. So it's not just ring rust that's the issue. I think Fundora it's a tough code to crack, man. It's a tough code to crack. I don't know what Thurman could have done except landed a lucky blow, right?